Hey, Edith.
Hey, Christy. So, Sherlock Holmes was doing some gardening. Watson asked what he was planting. He replied, "A lemon tree, my dear Watson." Oh, that took you a while. Get it? Elementary, elementary.
What?
Lemon tree.
Lemon tree.
A lemon tree. Yeah.
Lemon tree. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christy.
And I'm Edith. We're backyard gardeners in Colorado.
And neighbors.
And friends. These days, gardening is becoming very popular, and lots of our friends and family are picking our brains for tips and troubleshooting.
We think it's kind of funny because we're not experts. We just learned a lot about gardening from the mistakes we made along the way.
Yeah, so welcome to Upside Down Tulips, a fun podcast that celebrates gardening gone wrong,
where we share our most epic garden failures and our biggest garden lessons.
Upside Down Tulips.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Edith.
Hi, Christy.
How's your week been?
Oh, it's been fine. You're looking at me funny. It's my hair, isn't it? It is. It's my hair. Do you know, Christy, I haven't been to the hairdresser since last January.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and I've been cutting it with my little manicure scissors. And I thought I was doing great until I looked in the mirror and realized the left side of my head is totally different from the right side of my head. I've got 2 haircuts on the same head.
You know you do.
I do. And I figured out why. Because, now look at here. If I'm cutting with my right hand, the left side of my head, that's easy. But if I'm cutting the right side, my arm gets upside down. That's why. But you know why it's okay? Because I spend so much time in the garden, and the garden doesn't judge.
Oh, God bless the garden,
God bless the garden.
Oh, yes. This is Upside Down Tulips, everybody.
Hi.
Here we are, the second episode.
Did you get any emergency calls for our emergency garden text session?
I did.
Did you?
It's interesting because ever since the pandemic happened, we're both getting calls from people who are asking us for tips and troubleshooting about gardening. And I was on the phone with my friend John, and we were just talking about something entirely different. And then he said, "Oh, by the way, I have another thing to ask you, Christy." I said, "Yeah, what is that?" He goes, "The bottom of my tomatoes have this little brown mushy spot on the bottom."
Oh, no.
What is that? And of course, as we know, that is blossom
end rot.
Yes. Pretty early to have ripe tomatoes, I thought, this year for him, though.
I was a little impressed too, but luckily it's not like a horrible problem. It can be solved.
Yeah, it can be. It's either it can be inconsistent watering, or it can be lack of calcium. And because my friend John has his tomatoes in containers, which a lot of people do, tomatoes do so great in containers, it's highly possible, he says he waters every day, that all that watering is flushing out the calcium level. So, he could, get some fertilizer, tomato fertilizer that could fix that. Or, he could also put in ground up eggshells.
Do you know what I do with my tomatoes? Epsom salts.
Sure.
So I think that is a kind of a nice. I mean, it takes eggshells a while to break down for the plant, to get the calcium. But Epsom salt seems to do really good for tomatoes.
Yeah. So that was my emergency gardening,
and you solved it.
Yeah, that's
good for you.
What's happening in your garden this week, Edith? What's new? What's happening?
Christy, I had a wonderful garden surprise this week. Okay. So every year I like to buy things like seeds I have never bought before, right? This year I planted, it is a spinach called Monstrose de Viroflay.
Oh my gosh.
Monstrose. It has an X in it, so it's French.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's French for spinach that's bigger than your head.
Folks, she's got this seed packet in front of her now.
I've got the seed packet. I'm not kidding. The leaves, one leaf of spinach was bigger than my head.
Oh my gosh.
I laid it on the counter and I put my glasses down on it. It was hilarious. One leaf.
One leaf?
That's not even the best part. The best part is it never bolted.
Oh.
It did not bolt, which is huge in this hot weather. So I harvested it and froze it and ate some of it. And at the same time, I planted some, never thinking it was going to, because who plants spinach in July?
Yeah.
It never works. It's up.
Wow.
It's up. Best spinach I have ever seen. Monstrose.
Here, let me see the packet.
Here, they viroflay. And I do think it means the monsters of viroflay must be not a
Oh my
person.
gosh,
Look
that
at
looks amazing.
It's amazing.
Cool season, 28 to 50 days.
Oh.
You know, if you had a spinach leaf that big, I bet it'd make a great wrap. Like a sandwich
It
wrap?
would make a great wrap. And here's the thing. So it says cool season on the front, but on the back, it tells you can do successive planting. So do you see? It's like a business in the front, party in the back.
So it's a mullet spinach.
It's a mullet spinach. That's right. It's
That's
a mullet
cool.
spinach.
Can you leave some of those with me when I give you broccoli?
Leave some seeds with you?
Yeah.
Of course.
couple
What
of
are
them. I'll
friends,
try.
neighbors / co-hosts for?
Nice.
Of course I can.
Nice. Well, I can tell you this is that I, this week, have a garden mystery.
Oh, good. Oh, I love mysteries.
I have a mystery plant growing in my compost pile.
Oh.
Now, I think it's in the squash family, but it's not zucchini.
Okay.
And it does not look like zucchini, and it doesn't look like summer squash either. And so I don't know. I have to when we're done, you'll have to come into the backyard with me.
Okay.
And maybe I'll take a picture and I can put it up on our website and our Facebook page, and people can help me
Okay.
ID what this is. Some kind of mystery squash, but it doesn't look, I don't think it's zucchini or summer squash.
It's really hard to tell, like, a spaghetti squash from a butternut.
Butternut,
just by
it
the
could
leaves.
be.
It could be. I mean, it's obviously something you've either eaten or planted before, right?
Or somebody,
Some bird.
right?
Well, those are pretty big seeds for a little bird butthole, but sure.
It's like, poor bird. It's like, oh, it was a tough day.
We love our birds.
Yeah,
we love
that's
them.
right. Yeah, so mystery squash.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could be like a hybrid squash too, because sometimes that happens too.
Yes, that happened to me last year. Yeah.
Are they edible? Did you eat it?
I gave most of it away. But I ate it, but it wasn't great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Which I didn't know that before I gave it away. I'm not that kind of a gardener.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I think I have another mistake in my vegetable garden. You know, I have 9 tomato plants, and they're all doing great.
Yeah.
Except for one.
Oh.
And one has that rust on it,
Okay.
which I think is a fungus, which I think it happened when we had that really hard rain and everything splashed up. And which we'll get into when we talk about mulch in a little bit. So I've been plucking away the rusty leaves, and I sprayed a neem oil on it. But I don't know. It doesn't look good, and I'm going to give it another week. And if it's still getting bad, then it's going in the garbage.
Yeah,
because you shouldn't compost these tomato plants. That you should just throw them in the garbage.
Yeah, anything diseased, you should not put in the compost.
So I'll have you take a look at it after this, and you can give me some advice on it.
Okay.
And I'd also say this too, is that I had some gardening news.
You have gardening news?
Yeah. I learned this week that there have been, because of the pandemic, 16 million new households in America that are gardening.
That's so great.
And that
wow.
77% of households say they have a garden. And 1 in 3 households in America say they grow food.
That is wonderful. Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear.
A lot of people gardening. So we're here for you, folks. And probably the more new gardeners there are, the more mistakes and failures there will be. And we are here to help guide you through them and get to learn to love your mistakes.
Now, and here's a mystery too. And I read this also on Wheat Ridge Gardeners on their Facebook page. For some reason, it's a bad year for peppers.
Oh,
How are your peppers doing? I had 9 pepper plants, 3 are doing good, and 6 are not much bigger than one I put them in as seedlings.
I have 9 pepper plants, and they're all doing great.
Of course
Blooming.
Ooh,
I'll take a picture. I'll put them up on our Facebook page.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I think, folks, if you have a garden surprise or a garden mystery, write to us and send them in.
Maybe we can figure this stuff out.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, good.
And we're back.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to do our topic of the week. And this week it is watering and mulching. Let's start off with watering and talk about the mistakes we've made in the garden regarding watering and some tips and troubleshooting advice we can give. Learn from our mistakes, friends.
Mm-hmm.
I was out in the vegetable garden this morning, Edith, and I went out a little later than I normally do. It was 10 in the morning, so it was already getting hot. It was so dry out there that when the water hit the soil, steam came off the ground. And I have been watering every day this past week. It has been so hot here in the Denver metro area. It's been in the 90s. It got to 100.
Mm-hmm. When do you water?
In the morning. I try to get out there before 9 a.m.
I water at night.
Oh, interesting.
Which is, I think, why mine doesn't steam. Because I think, in the nighttime, it holds the moisture in. And I know people say you shouldn't water in the evening.
I've heard that.
But I don't agree, and I don't like getting up early, so.
Yeah. I would say as long as you're not watering before 10 or 6 o'clock. In our area, it might be different where other people live, but it's probably true through a lot of the countries. Don't water in the heat of the day, especially when it's hot. You're just wasting water.
Absolutely, but it also depends on how you water. Like I don't have a sprinkler, and I don't even use a shower head. What is that called that you put on the hose?
Yeah, I have that.
I don't use that at all. I just use the hose, and I put it down on the ground because as you have a saying about that when you water, you should
water the toes and never the nose.
Yeah.
That was a mistake I would make a lot in watering, was that I would just think, oh, plants love water. They want a shower. So let's just water, just douse the whole plant with water. It feels so good. I like a shower. I feel really good. But what you're doing is you're inviting disease. You want to encourage the roots to get wet, and you want to prevent mold.
Right. That's why I think it's okay when I water at night, because I don't get the leaves wet at all.
Yeah, water the toes and never the nose.
Never the nose, yeah.
And you should also try to water as deeply and as infrequently as you can. I've heard that before.
I've heard that.
I've had friends who say you should never try to water your vegetables every day. But I tell you, if it's in the upper 90s, I'm out there every day.
Me too.
I think next week we have a couple days in the 80s, and I'm going to take a break. And the reason why they say you should never water every day is because you really do want to encourage those roots to go down, 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 down.
Yeah.
I get a little scared because I'd be out there and see my plants start to wilt. Yeah. But a little wilt is not bad.
They'll pop back in the evening. You'll notice if they pop back in the evening, that means it was not a lack of water. It was just the heat. We wilt in the heat as well.
Yeah, they will just like, wow, a cat will find a shady spot. The plants will just, especially like cucumbers will do that. Tomato plants will do it. Yeah. As long as you see them bounce back, then you know that you're okay.
The other thing that you can do, and I actually did this week, is I took a spoon and I dug like just 2 inches down to see what the soil was doing. So if you take that soil out and squeeze it and water comes out, that's too much water. If it crumbles, that's not enough water.
I've heard of the screwdriver tip, which is you take your screwdriver and you push. If it pushes easily in all the way to the handle, you have enough water because the soil is loose. But if it's not going in, you should water. And I would say before the pandemic, if you'd asked me what kind of water I would say I go to the either extreme. I either overwater or underwater. I have trouble finding the sweet spot. But now that the pandemic has happened and we're unemployed and we're at home and I could spend more time in my yard and I'm seeing things more and I'm watering more, I think I've been really underwatering a lot because my garden has never looked so good.
Christy, I water every day. I mean, one time last week I didn't water because it wasn't quite as hot or something, and I did that soil test. But it also gives you a chance to look at every single plant you have for aphids, for rust, for anything like that.
Yeah, hand water. And I used to have a drip system because I'd be off directing plays someplace because Edith and I are both theater people, and I wouldn't be home, so I'd be relying on my drip system. And when you rely on the drip system can't do it all for you. You still have to go out there and take a look at things, which means it does take a little personal time. Personally, I love watering, though. I love going out there. I listen to a podcast. In fact, there might be people right now listening to us while they're out watering.
What a nice thought that is.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think that's
great.
kind of cool.
That is cool.
Hey, have you heard of the term evapotranspiration?
What?
Evapotranspiration.
No, I don't think I have.
This I got from Denver Water, and it is the measurement of how much moisture is lost through heat in your community. I went to Denver Water and added it up, and last week the Denver metro area lost 1.95 inches of water into the atmosphere because it was been so hot.
You mean from the soil?
Yes.
No. Really? So from
Almost
the soil?
2 inches. And so if you live in this area, you need to, and if you've just been watering, an inch a week, the ground is not being able to catch up because we've had no rain. So you need to be replacing 2 inches of water, supplement water. And it might be different in other folks' community. And you can look that up probably through your own water municipality, just so you know, like, how much should I water?
Yeah.
Well, you have to be replacing what's being lost in the atmosphere.
Can I say one more thing, Christy, which is using gray water, what they call gray water?
So smart.
That used to be illegal here, which is insane.
I had this on my list. Can we talk
Insane.
about rain barrels, please?
Yeah, I'm okay. Go ahead. I'll
you
just
go ahead.
say that when I rinse my dishes, I have them in a tub, and I take that and I put them in a bucket, and that goes out the front. I try never to waste water. So talk about the rain barrels.
Well, I think it's interesting that rain barrels were illegal in the state of Colorado
Yeah.
until a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And you couldn't collect water because we didn't own the rain that came from the sky.
We did anyway, though. We did anyway. I did.
You did?
Of course I did.
So you're an outlaw.
Yes, my neighbor told me I was an outlaw.
You are a renegade, Edith. So you were breaking the law.
For years.
Collecting
yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Because it didn't belong to you. It belongs to, I guess it belonged to like the farmers or people in Las Vegas and the Colorado River. I don't know.
It
Belonged to
was
somebody
going
else.
onto the cement and to the driveway of my neighbor.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
now you can get a rain barrel.
Yeah.
But they're expensive, though.
Yeah, I have not got one yet. I still use my little cat litter buckets.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Oh, that's smart.
If you have any, by the way, I
Yeah.
could use a couple. Yeah, that's what I use. And I had the gutter system hooked up so that it all comes out of this one gutter. Everything on my roof of my garage comes through this one gutter chute.
Oh, are you smart?
And I go out and I move them around.
Yeah, I told my husband I want a rain barrel for my birthday. Doesn't that sound romantic?
That's so romantic. What a gardener.
I want a rain barrel. No jewelry, please.
Yeah.
I know
no
you were
jewelry.
thinking diamonds,
No.
but can you get me a rain barrel instead?
That's great. That's great, Christy.
I had one other thing about water,
Yeah.
which is about using shade. And I tried a little hack this week that
Okay.
I'll have you come out and take a look at it. But I still have spinach, arugula, and leaf lettuce in a little patch in my yard. And it's getting so hot out there, right? It's all wilty and bolting. I put a lawn chair over it this week.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
And I think I'll have you come out and take a look at it after we're done. But I think they're happy.
That's like a homemade floating row cover, which is what a lot of people use, and they're so expensive. Why not just put a lawn chair or, I don't know, a husband, something out there to shade your lettuce?
Just
right?
have somebody stand over there with an umbrella.
Somebody big, yeah. We are going to take a little break now because we need desperately to come back and talk about mulch.
Hi, folks. Farmer McKegg here. Sometimes your soil needs a little something extra to feed your growing garden. Why not try Farmer McKegg's cow manure? We collect the cow pies straight from the pasture, produced by cows so free-range and happy that they romp in the fields. That's right, rompin' cows. 'Cause Farmer McKegg's rompin' cows make the best BS.
Hey, we're back. Hi, this is Edith, and we are going to throw this over to Christy, who knows so much about mulch.
Oh my gosh.
Christy.
That was really a huge expectation right there, Edith.
I'll help you. Between the two of us, we should know something. How's that?
I would say, I'll tell you what I know is
Okay.
that mulch is anything that you put on the ground that will prevent weeds from coming up and will retain moisture. And there are a lot of different things that can be mulch, like wood chips or shredded bark.
Maybe we should point out that there's two types generally. There's inorganic and organic.
Yes.
And inorganic is rocks, which are
Pebbles,
rocks, and then stuff like sheets of plastic that people, stuff like that. Which yeah. Ever since my milk jug catastrophe, I won't let plastic in my garden. First podcast.
That's been a mistake I've made with mulch, is put down landscape fabric. I've done that before, and it's not. And we talked about this a little bit last week.
Yeah,
it's not ideal because the plastic will break down.
Yes, it will.
Then the weeds will come up, and then you're just stuck with all that plastic.
And at some point, you will be eating the plastic.
Yeah.
At some point, that's how small it gets. That's what they didn't tell us all those years ago. With plastic never ever decomposing.
But pebbles make a great pebbles and stones make a great inorganic mulch.
Yeah, but you can, if you use organic, it will eventually break down and add to the soil. That's one of the real advantages, right, Christy, of organic mulch.
And it can be also, you can use pine needles. You can use chopped up leaves. You don't want to use full leaves because it'll mat and will can create, and it can actually prevent moisture from getting into the ground. You can use straw, but you don't want to use hay.
No, I made that mistake once. Oh, yes, I did.
Did you? So you had a wheat field.
I had a wheat field in my garden. Oh, yeah.
And you know how you could tell the difference between straw and hay?
How?
So straw actually has a hole through it, like a straw.
That is so cool.
So,
I never thought of that.
And some people, you can go to some place and they say, here is straw, but you should check it.
They're fakers.
They could
fake you out.
Just not know that really what they just sold you is hay or give you hay.
Look how nice
Craigslist.
you are. Look how nice you are saying, oh, they don't know. Of course they know. The one setback to straw that I found is, it gets windy here sometimes, and sometimes goodbye straw. It's all over the neighborhood.
Yeah, you've given the straw to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing can be true with grass. I know I use, in my vegetable garden, I use grass clippings. You have to be careful with grass clippings, though. You don't want to put 3 inches of wet grass clippings because that'll just mat down and prevent moisture from coming through. You want to kind of do it in layers. You want to do little layer, and then do another little layer next week and another little layer. Let it be dry. And you have to make sure that it hasn't been treated with pesticides.
Right.
So if you have a service coming in with your lawn, because essentially what you're doing is you're putting pesticides in your vegetable garden that you've been trying to keep so beautifully organic. And if you use a weed and feed, you should check the label.
Yes.
On your fertilizer to see what ingredients are in that and to see if that's actually going to be harmful to your vegetable garden.
Yeah, because Christy and I, we are both, as much as we possibly can, be organic gardeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I do, and this is kind of so pathetic and shows how unemployed and bored I can get. I have that awful Virginia creeper everywhere. So I will rip that out, and I will also prune things. And then, believe it or not, Christy, I will sit there with my little clippers and make my own mulch. And it takes forever. But I got nothing. What do I got to do?
Wow.
Yeah.
How tiny do you clip up the Virginia creeper?
Like an inch or 2. Yeah. And then I use that as mulch. So I don't really waste anything except, a great deal of my time, which is my life. So there you go.
I'm glad we have this podcast now for you, Edith. So you're doing something else
besides
sitting in. I just have the image of you in the backyard.
It's horrible.
Just clipping away a Virginia creeper and like a little single tear coming down your
Oh, no,
cheek.
I am full on gushing the tears. Oh. It's not a single tear. It's like, how pathetic can my life be?
And, but just since you mentioned that, you can also use compost as a mulch.
Oh, yes, you can.
So I use a lot of compost. I used to use a lot of wood chips.
I do too. I do too.
I used to buy it. I don't buy it as much anymore. I think I use more compost now. And I also think my beds have filled in a bit more, so everything just kind of shades itself.
What's wonderful about Wheat Ridge, and I love the Wheat Ridge gardeners Facebook page, because people will say, I have a mountain of mulch, come and get it.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. They don't look at you nasty or anything. You're taking it and they don't expect anything for it.
That's a really good point. And I think it's a good tip is that if you are new to gardening and you go, you should check in to see if there is a local Facebook group about gardening.
Absolutely. They're the nicest people, aren't they, Christy?
I've done trades on Wheat Ridge Gardeners where I've just said, hey, I have these plants. Does anybody want extra ones? Because, the more you give away, the more room I have for new plants or to move things around or change things around. And this year I did it. I said free plants for free or for trade. And I got some really nice seedlings, things in return. But mulching is... mulching.
You know what else I do with the Virginia creeper and the rose bushes and cutting them up real small? I will tear paper. What is that heavy brown paper?
Cardboard?
No. Sorry. How do I tear cardboard? What am I?
Butcher paper? Butcher paper?
Yeah. Okay. Butcher paper and the stuff like when you go to the grocery store instead of plastic, if you ask for
paper bags. Paper
bags. I rip them up and I mix them up as well.
Wow.
Because it works.
You are clever.
Well, I'm cheap.
Have you ever heard about people putting mulch too close to trees?
Bad idea.
Yeah.
Because it holds insects. Insects can burrow in there. And also it can be suffocating. So like around my tomatoes, I make sure that they have a little space to breathe right around the root there on the bottom.
And it can encourage mold down there too. So
it can. Yeah. You know what I use too? It's a little pricey, but I really like it. It's called soil pep. And it's this kind of a mulch you can buy, and it decomposes fairly quickly, but it goes straight into the garden, and it really peps up your soil. I actually looked it up this morning, and it says it is 3/8 minus screened bark material. Oh. I thought I would sound smart if I knew that.
You sound very smart.
But I have no idea what that means.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote it down, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but I really like it.
Soil pep.
Soil pep.
Uh-huh.
Anything else about mulching? Oh, I didn't tell you about my cocoa bean mulch 1 year. Talk about pricey. I bought a bag of cocoa bean mulch, and my entire garden smelled like chocolate.
Oh,
it
nice.
was fantastic. It was like living in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Oh, my gosh.
Without the yuckiness of Hershey, Pennsylvania. Sorry, Pennsylvania. Yeah, it was amazing.
We're going to get letters now.
Well, that's good. That's what we want.
We'll take your letters and your hate mail.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, a lot of different kinds of mulch, but make sure that you do. You just don't want the plant baking in the hot soil. That's
mulch it.
Mulch
you know what you got to do, Edith?
What?
You got to mulch it.
Yes, you do.
Mulch it.
Yeah, it's like a blues song, isn't it? Maybe we should take a break now. Do you know someone who always looks on the bright side of life? Who says things like, every thorn has its rose, or what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? Have you had just about enough of their unfounded optimism? Have we got the perfect thing for you? The Curmudgeon's Handbook of Dreary Quotations will get you through these times that are exactly as bad as you think they are. With sayings like, what doesn't kill you makes you gray and bitter. Or, here's one for an overachieving coworker. Eagles soar, but sparrows don't get sucked into jet engines. Or the favorite quote for the year 2020, it's never too late to go back to bed. If you need to smack someone upside the head with a dose of reality, order the Curmudgeon's Handbook of Dreary Quotations today. Thanks.
All right, it's time for mailbag.
Yay, mailbag.
This is where we read letters from all of you folks, and you share with us your favorite gardening mistakes.
Because thank you, that makes us feel better, knowing that you also made mistakes.
Here's the first one from Marcia from Lakewood, Colorado. After moving down from the mountains, I was excited for a growing season that would allow me to have a garden. Every plant got my personal attention. talking to the plants, playing music for them, watering, weeding, putting diatomaceous earth around them to keep the bugs away, mulch it, and side dressing with coffee grounds. That mulch it part was just for me. In July, I showed my garden to my neighbor, who looked at me funny and said, "Are you growing weeds on purpose?" Oh, Marcia.
Oh, Marcia, I've done that.
Have you grown a weed on purpose?
No, on accident.
Yeah.
I've done that on accident.
I have too. So
Yeah.
proud of it. But then there's that moment after you think this, because you just don't know right away. I'm getting better at knowing what's a plant and what's a weed. But in the beginning, I didn't know, so I took care of everything.
Yeah, me too. I took care of everything.
And then you discover that what you've been taking such good care of is a weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Well, yeah. Okay. Our next letter is from Anne. She's a poet in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. When I was a sophomore in college, I roomed in an old farmhouse with a bunch of other young people. We found the trip to the food co-op in the city was long and awkward, and we didn't always have a working vehicle between us. Sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. Someone, might have been me, suggested we plant a garden to feed ourselves cheaply. The landlord came by with his tractor and plowed up the side yard, an area about 15 by 30 feet. We went to the garden store and found tomatoes and flats and various seeds. We decided we'd grow pickling cucumbers and tomatoes and acorn squash. Get this, Christy. A flat of tomatoes cost $3.75.
Wow.
So we bought the flat, 72 plants. 72 plants, $3.75. We planted them all.
72 tomatoes.
Yeah. We also planted all of the cuke seeds and all of the acorn squash seeds. Then, because we were the kind of people who ate sprouts, we had mung beans for sprouting in the house. We decided to plant some of those too. This garden taught me a great deal about choosing quantities of veggies for consumption. In addition, I learned which of my friends could be counted on for genuine hard garden labor and who was more likely to hide in a bedroom getting high. Though I did have one roomie who found he rather enjoyed weeding while stoned. That was a definite plus. I suppose we saved some money on food that fall. We ate a lot of spaghetti with tomato sauce. I will say we got pretty tired of eating acorn squash, though. Our harvest took up 2 long kitchen shelves and lasted until the following February. We had no idea what to do with the mung beans. I think we just left them there in their neat rows until the Michigan snow fell on them. Perhaps they self-sowed and still pop up occasionally in the lawn of the condos that replaced the farmhouse decades ago.
Oh, I love that.
Oh,
What a good writer.
She's a poet.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yes, can't you tell?
I could just see the Michigan snow falling on this little
Yes.
garden that they
Yeah.
had. 72 tomato plants.
72. That's
Wow.
hilarious for $3.75.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, for the first time in 10 years, I planted beans and I harvested the first ones yesterday. And then I realized, I don't like homegrown beans. I just like Popeye's beans. I don't like it. But, so Anne, I did the same thing just this year.
Yeah, and if you're out there and you have some favorite gardening mistakes that you want to share, you can write to us at upsidedowntulips.com or post on our Facebook page and tell us about your favorite gardening mistakes.
Thank you guys for writing those letters. They actually inspire us. Christy, speaking of inspiration, do you have a quote for us this week?
Yes, I do. It's time for the Garden Inspirational Quote of the Week.
Oh.
This one's brought to you by Audrey Hepburn. To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow.
Oh, that's nice.
It's one of the reasons why I love gardening so much, because we know spring will happen.
Yeah.
And you believe in tomorrow when you plant a seed, when you plant a bulb.
Yep.
Well, thanks everybody for listening to Upside Down Tulips. We're so grateful for your being here, for listening to our stories, and for writing to us.
Christy, I'll bet you we've doubled our audience this week. I bet we're up to like 6 now.
I feel it.
I do
I
too.
think there are people who are out there who love gardening, who appreciate learning from failure. I think it's
They found us.
I think they have found us.
We have been found. Mm-hmm.
What you folks need to do to help us is please tell your friends about our podcast, visit our Facebook page, go to our website, tell us about your favorite mistakes. Please say some nice things,
or
give us nice
you can
ratings.
be snarky. Go ahead and be snarky because we'll just delete it. Am I right? We'll delete it. Okay.
And we want to give special thanks to Denise Gentilini for composing and performing the Upside Down Tulips theme song. And don't forget, if you make a mistake,
your garden will forgive you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Upside down.